3 images have been released from The Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim, an upcoming anime film from director Kenji Kamiyama. The images tease the return of Edoras and Helm's Deep and hint that both will feature in large battle sequences. Welcome to Furthy's Feedback, folks. But before we get into it, let me know your thoughts on the new Lord of the Rings anime movie, where I'll be replying to people in the same vein as Gimli when he's on the source.
The last one standing wins.
So, The War of the Rohirrim gets 3 first-look images teasing the return of some classic Middle-earth fortresses. Directed by Kenji Kamiyama, The War of the Rohirrim takes place almost 200 years before Frodo's quest to destroy the One Ring during J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings trilogy. The upcoming anime film from Warner Bros. Animation and New Line Cinema will chronicle the life of Helm Hammerhead and the creation of the legendary fortress of Helm's Deep. Now, ahead of the War of the Rohirrim's release date later this year, Warner Bros. Shares new first-look images from the movie, teasing the return of Edoras and Helm's Deep. Here are the images in question. One image appears to show an army of soldiers and at least one Mumakil advancing on Edoras as an army of the Rohirrim stand in their path, while the other seemingly shows a Mumakil breaching the Rohan fortress's wooden walls. The third features Helm himself standing outside the walls of Helm's Deep atop a mound of frozen bodies.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
While only 3 images have been released from the War of the Rohirrim, the material suggests that the film will be maintaining the general look and feel of Middle-earth from Jackson's trilogy. Edoras, for example, appears very similar to how it first appears in Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, and the Rohirrim themselves also wear similar armour. The visual continuity is no doubt due to the fact that the anime hails from the original trilogy studio New Line Cinema, now owned by Warner Bros., and producer Philippa Boyens, who co-wrote Jackson's The Lord of the Rings movies. The visual language of Jackson's Middle-earth is so ingrained in popular culture that even Prime Video's adaptation, The Lord of the Rings: The Rings of Power, maintains certain aspects of it. What will be interesting this time around, however, is seeing how the world of Middle-earth evolves when not in live action. It remains to be seen how the War of the Rohirrim will compare to Jackson's trilogy, but the film is certainly one to look forward to.
Bring it on!
It's due out this December, but audiences will actually get to return to Middle-earth before the film hits theatres. The Rings of Power Season 2 is expected to release on Prime Video later this year, continuing Amazon's expensive adaptation chronicling events during the Second Age of Middle-earth. While the show has proven somewhat divisive among audiences, the fantasy series was a major viewership hit, and Amazon has expressed interest in seeing the show run at least 5 seasons. In addition to this series, it was recently announced that a new live-action feature film called Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum is coming in 2026. Plot specifics haven't yet been revealed, but the title suggests the film could potentially take place during the events of Jackson's The Fellowship of the Ring. This upcoming movie, which will feature Andy Serkis as director and returning to the role of Gollum, hails from New Line Cinema and Warner Bros. And will feature Jackson as a producer, suggesting it will feel similar to his original trilogy. What's more, The Hunt for Gollum is expected to be only the first in a new batch of Lord of the Rings films to come in the following years. Those who enjoy the franchise then could be in for an exciting decade as Warner Bros. Clearly attempts to capitalize on love for the franchise. While most of the upcoming projects are in live action, it's entirely possible that the success of Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim will result in additional anime spin-offs, prequel or sequels getting the green light.
What a time to be alive.